Good morning. Austin Lawrence here, your mountain biking MLO, here to kind of go over some of the obvious things that are going on in the market in Sonoma County. Specifically, I want to address Forestville. So if you have not been to Forestville, it is a quaint little agricultural community right in between Sebastopol and Guerneville. You usually see this kind of on an offset from the Trenton Road where Forestville is actually located. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I want to kind of just show you the PowerPoint that I'm going through with regards to the information. So that way I'm kind of adhering to the specifics of it, as well as just giving you kind of a reference point. And please, make any comments that you would like as well. I would really appreciate if you would give me some feedback, and more importantly, if you want a copy of the slideshow, because there's stuff on there that you wanted to just make reference to or keep in your records, please request it. I would be more than happy to send that to you. Okay, let's get started. So I am going to share my screen, and I'm going to take you through a PowerPoint on what is actually going on in Sonoma County, specifically Forestville, California. Okay, so the market update is on Sonoma County, just general blanket is the focus today, and specifically, what will $500,000 buy you in Forestville, California? All right, so here's some images. And Forestville, interestingly, didn't have a like a city, I would say a city actual landing site, website. So this is the best I could find that was actually related to it, is the Forestville FPA. It's a Forestville Plan Association. So here's some cool images. One of the things I would draw your attention to is this is definitely a Russian River community. This is a picture of the downtown area, as you can see down below. And I wanted to draw your attention to one of the particular places, which is on the left there with the X right over by it. And it's the Nightingale's Bakery, one of my favorite places to buy bread. So if you have not been to Nightingale's, I strongly recommend that you make it there and buy some of their bread. They also are a supplier to a lot of the actual local restaurants. So high quality stuff. All right, so market update in Sonoma County. How is this community doing? Forestville, California has a rich past as an agricultural community, and today is one of the most celebrated communities in the Russian River area. What's the state of the home sales is what I'm going to be addressing, market conditions, market rates, specifically in Forestville, but kind of addressing loosely Sonoma County. We have some exciting news coming down the pipe in the next couple months. If you have not been made aware of that, the conventional loan limits will be going up. We're going to get the new loan limits upcoming. They should be kind of in place in December, for sure in January with all the other lenders. The loan limit currently is $707,250, and this will increase obviously in December 2021 and probably take effect with all lenders in January. Right now, here's what we're seeing. So currently it's at $548,850. That's your conventional loan limit. And right now I have an actual lender that will take us up to $625, which brings a lot of these properties in this particular area into that conventional framework, which will allow you to actually get a better rate, because anything over that limit, the 548 at this point, or the 625, which is going to change to, is going to give you what's called a high balance loan, and that's going to be a little bit higher of a rate, just FYI. And then obviously anything above that is what we would call jumbo, and we use jumbo kind of as a analogy for any non-QM or non-qualified mortgages that are outside of the general framework. So home sales slowed because of supply and demand. This market is slowing for a number of different reasons. We're starting to see rates kind of tick up just a little bit, which is having a little bit of an effect on people's motivation. But more importantly, what we're seeing is there's a change. Schools are starting. COVID restrictions are kind of indiscriminate at this point, but they start in effect, and appraisal turn times are becoming a major issue. We're also seeing signs that open houses are once again being postponed or limited in their servicing. Interest rates held pretty steady for the last 3 weeks. We did see a decline about 2 weeks ago, and then it kind of just leveled out. So they're a little bit higher as I'm doing them today, but not enough that I would say is a significant change. Otherwise, here's the note. The conventional loan limit is 548. It's actually 548,250, my apologies. And the new limit, which I have access to at this point with 3 of my lenders, is 625,000. So if you're in that framework, definitely give me a call, and I'd love to help you out, kind of run that scenario for you. You can draw up some, basic, PowerPoints, or I can do like an Excel format to kind of show you the differences in those. Okay. So what's going on in this community with home sales? We need to talk about some of the specifics and terminology just so that you're familiar with it. And it's also just a nice introduction to the process, so you're not kind of feeling like, I don't know what he's talking about with your realtors and stuff like that, or she, depending on who it is. So contingencies. Contingencies and a lack of concessions are the normal for this marketplace. What are contingencies? There's basically 3 that you will receive as part of your RPA or your residential purchase agreement. A loan contingency, which is basically based on the loan if you're financing it, an appraisal contingency, and then finally a home inspection. We're seeing appraisals and loans being removed from the RPA, which is more of an incentive, motivates sellers to want to accept your offer. So there's kind of a give and take with the market that we see in the day-to-day operations. So that'd be something, if you have questions about, please reach out. I'd love to go over that. I also have a great video on home inspection versus appraisal, because quite often when we're addressing the issues of these contingencies, this gets confusing when we're talking about a home inspection, which you have to pay for in advance of the actual loan, and an appraisal, which again, you do have to pay for in advance of the loan. And those become a little bit confusing for somebody who's kind of just walking into this without a lot of experience. In addition, most buyers are continuing to bid over asking price. This is becoming normal. Interestingly, in Forestville, we're seeing some of those coming a little bit under, and I'm not sure about that. I don't have a real answer for you in that respect, but I'm seeing that we are probably getting more of whatever the asking price is. People are actually going to be offering that versus, a few months ago, it was just a given that you were going to get an offer above whatever your asking price was. So realtors, just a little side note, I recommend strongly that you look at what the actual sales would be asking price wise, and maybe offer a little bit lower, just because it will make it more competitive and add a little bit more incentive for those buyers to come in and take a look at the property, if not to actually place some bids. Okay. So we're continuing to see appraisals coming in below purchase price. This is a normal process that we see when you're in a hot market. What happens is, obviously, we're seeing the sales because of what's being listed, and then on the other side of the fence, the result is that those are caught up to the actual appraisal review at the point of which you're getting your appraisal. So we're seeing these active listings at like 850, and then your house comes in, which is comparable to that, at like 825, and you're like, what's going on here? I mean, everything's going for 850. And that just has to do with the market. It usually carries back about 3-6 months are the solds that you're receiving those comparables on, or what we call comps. So that's just something to be aware of. Good news is, most likely, and this is happening quite often with a lot of my clients, once they move into a house, they already have that equity. And if you look at this last year in its entirety, we actually saw that most homes increased in value at about 38%. So another side note, if you have mortgage insurance at this point, and especially if you're not in an FHA loan, I strongly recommend that you look into refinancing, at least in an effort to try to get more of a cash flow situation going on, or at the very least, talk to your lender, order an appraisal, and have that appraisal review done, which will, with most lenders, if you made 6 payments, and the value's up to the 80%, will remove that mortgage insurance payment. So it could save you money, increase your cash flow each month. All right. Sonoma County in general, let me talk about some of the statistics, and I'm just going to hit the highlights here. So this is why you can just come back, ask me for the slide, and I'd be more than happy to share it with you. We're looking at about a $720,000 average sale price. In fact, I would say in this market, if you're not prepared to pay $800,000, you're probably going to be looking at what we would term the slim pickings of the market. But 720,000 is about the average. The rate I found this morning is about 3.01, so right above 3%. And this was a scenario with a 30-year fix, 20% down, 760 credit. Remember, I was going off of my lender that allows for an increased conventional loan limit of 625. So that's kind of what I was looking at. Average home sells in about 37 days. That's an improvement. So we are getting better with technology at closing these loans. Homes sold year to date, 621, and last year was 623. So interesting, we're seeing a little bit of a market shift here. Active listings, what I found was 720 active listings, and these depending on the site. I'm not MLS accessible, and I don't use that as my resource, which obviously I should, but that's something that I'm working on getting. But in reality, I'm getting pretty general ideas of what's going on in the market, and it is pretty accurate. So 720 is about right. Okay, let's move on to Forestville specifically. So Forestville, interestingly, is right in that obtainable range. It's under the conventional for the mid-range, which is the 548 currently. And interestingly, at the 625, we're still going to be in that market for Forestville. So this is a great place to look at if you're kind of in that the bubble or the guide of trying to stay within that conventional loan limit and not looking at high balance versus jumbo loans. Active listings, about 386 active listings in the market. In this particular community, there's a little bit of a discrepancy in that sense. 386 is a bit high. I think it's closer to 122 or something like that. So that may be a mistype. I'll double check that and correct the slide before I send it out. Average rates for this particular community, because then again, I run a scenario based on the specific property. I got 3.121. This is technically a high balance loan, which I wanted to kind of give you an example. As I had addressed in Sonoma, I was kind of looking at the 625 limit. So I wanted to give you kind of that other side of the fence. The loan limit for one unit in Sonoma County is currently $707,250, but we know that is going to be going up. So that's going to make Sonoma County a lot more enticing of an area to purchase. As well as what we found is Solano County is the other comparable. So just on the scale, those ones actually are reasonable with regards to the conventional loans. Average home sells in about 29 days, and homes sold year to date. Again, I was doing a loose figure here, and I'm seeing about 74 have sold year to date. So we are seeing a really, really active market for this small community, usually averaging right around 8 to 10 a month. All right, so let me give you some examples of those. And I wanted to actually, this is why I love the PowerPoint, because I think it really does address some of those. So here's a good example. This is a home that just sold 10-4. So we're talking 2 weeks ago. It's at Giovanetti Road. And I think I actually had this one when I did Forestville a number of weeks ago as one of the active listings. So you could see that this sold very, very quick or fairly fast. For the market. It was listed at 850. I think it was listed at 856 or 859, and it sold for 854,970. That could have been because maybe they found something wrong with the property and the seller just said, hey, look, I'll give you a credit for this amount, which changed the purchase price. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,564 square feet, beautiful property, nice lawn you can see and spread out right on that nice little sunny slope. Okay, so that's one of the sold properties. Let's look at some of the active listings right now. And I usually like to try to bring you into these listings, the active listings, with ones that you can actually go see. So this one has an open house this Sunday from 2 to 4 if you're interested in checking it out. And I would recommend, if you have not already received a pre-approval, like a full pre-approval, a real one, not a fake, just general conversation, but an actual pre-approval, reach out to me. I would be more than happy. It takes me about maybe 24 hours to get your documents all processed and give you a conditional approval, which I can do through a lender, and it is going to be underwritten as well as go through the Fannie Freddie automated underwriting system. So it's going to be a really solid pre-approval. This is the active listing on Elizabeth Way, 9805 in Forestville. And it's going for $849,900. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. This is what I would call a hot home, and I bet you it's listed as a hot home on Redfin, just because of the space, the way it's laid out, etc. So looks like a 1-story, just nice property, nice layout, and good size. A 2,000 square foot home is nothing to balk at. So, all right. And finally, I have one more active listing. This one is on Argonne Way in Forestville. This one's listed at $629. So this is within that framework where I would say, hey, if you're looking for a conventional loan, that $548 may have shut you out, especially if you wanted to put like 5% down or something on it. This opens that opportunity for you. So definitely, if you want to really see where your money can get, your purchase power, this would be one of those homes where you can really see and utilize that. And you could reach out to me, and I can use my lender that will give you that increased loan limit of $625, which just puts this in the better rate category for you. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,362 square feet. And it looks like it has this nice little open corridor for carport. So, I mean, that can always be converted too. We're seeing this happen a lot in the area. ADUs and SB9 are allowing for people to take these properties, subdivide them, or take their garage and convert it to a rental or an additional space to be used for visitors, etc. Because this is what we would call a river community, i.e. a vacation community. Okay. So those are the homes that I chose to select. Again, I get my information directly from Redfin, Realtor.com, and a lot of the other just general sites. So you can do the same thing. If you want me to walk you through it, reach out to me. I'll set up a Zoom call and I'll kind of walk you through how I get my information and some of the reliable resources that are available to you. All right. Thank you very much. Hey, one additional note. This is actually really interesting. Forestville used to be spelled with 2 R's. So you will see quite a few variations, not currently on a lot of the major sites, but it's an interesting fact because it was actually named after a guy named Forrest. So just an interesting fact I could throw out there about Forestville. Here is my contact information. I wanted to thank you so very much for attending. If you made it all the way through the video, again, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I would love to get your comments below. Please subscribe. I do these every Friday. And if you actually hit the notification button, they'll let you know in advance when these are coming out. And if you wanted to get more specific information about these, I can also set you up with a realtor in the community. I have a lot of good business relationships with the local realtors, and I can help to find you that right person that really, you feel you could work strongly with. And last thing I want to add, if you missed what I was talking about, let me just throw this out. If you're ever in Forestville, they do have weird hours, just so you know, but the Nightingale Bakery is probably one of those like just gems that you will be like so pleased that you found. So again, my name is Austin Lawrence, your mountain biking MLO. I do have YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, so please sign up with any of those sites, if not all of them. And if you're into mountain biking, or you like mountain biking videos, I also have an entirely different YouTube that I use for that, because that's kind of one of my hobbies and interests. And if you're interested in going out mountain biking, please reach out. I'd love to hit a couple trails with you. The local one here, just so you know, if you're a mountain biker, is Annandale. Annandale, it's Tryon Annandale State Park, and it has some really, really cool trails. And then my other default, which is a little bit more of a drive, is Tamarancho, which is in San Rafael or Fairfax, depending on how you look at the community. Okay, thanks again. Really appreciate you being here. Austin Lawrence, your mountain biking MLO. I will see you on the trail.